I apologize for not saying during the first video, but this will be a two-part video. Hopefully I can get it done in 2 parts. The timing on the recorder is for only 15 minutes, and I wanted to make sure that I got the whole presentation. So, as I said in part 1 of the video, we left off with William Herschel discovering Uranus, which him and Caroline did in 1781 on March 13th. He also discovered the 2 moons, Titania, Oberon, sorry. I apologize if I mispronounced those words. This discovery is what made him famous and allowed him to work on his astronomy full-time, thanks to King George. The discovery earned him the prestigious Copley Medal in 1781 and a fellowship with the Royal Society of London, which is a really fancy royal society that works for the king and gets paid for the king in London, I do believe. I found that information from famousscientist.org, which of course anything I cite directly is in the Works Cited page, and all the other information that I got from sites is in the Works Cited page at the end. Alright. Sorry, you guys, I'm trying to there we go. Flip the slide. Infrared light he discovered in 1800, of course, when he was working with eyepieces on telescopes. He took a prism and placed it in sunlight, measured the heat from each color in the spectrum with a black bulbed thermometer, because of course black absorbs sunlight, so it could get really hot. To hit the desired numbers, he studied the colors violet, blue, green, orange, and red, and then he realized while he was studying the colors that the temperatures hit way higher than the thermometer temperatures would go. And he discovered the pattern from violet to red light, which we still use today to measure heat. He decided to measure the red color with no light, and he found out that it had the highest light temperature. He found an area hotter than red, and this area he called fluorific rays. Today, of course, we call it infrared light. The prefix infra means below. Herschel's experiment was important because it marked the first time that someone demonstrated that there was types of light that we cannot see with our eyes. Of course, there's a whole infrared, infralight spectrum that we can't see. And I found that from an article that was titled Herschel Discovers Infrared Light, which of course is in the Works Cited page, noted at the end, which I will show you. William's later life. In 1783, Herschel published his observations leading to the discovery of solar moon. He determined that our solar system was moving between neighboring stars in the direction of the star Lambda Hercules. I'm assuming that's supposed to be Hercules or Hercules, one of those. He introduced us to a term called solar apex. From this direction, right there, and of course I cited it with the lovely long article title. Yes, that is the actual title of the article, as long as it is. May 8th, 1788, he actually married a widow of his former friend. Her name was Mary Pitt. She also went by another name, but at the time when she married William, it was Mary Pitt. In 1792, she gave birth to William's only son, John, which later became an astronomer, scientist in his own right. although I'm focusing on his parents and not John, although he will pop up a few times. William died on August 25th, 1822 in South Berkshire at the age of 83. Like I said in the first video, they do move around a lot, however, it's not really taken into effect where they were exactly when they discovered everything, as they bounced around from observatory to just random places and sitting out at night. He actually had someone from the Royal Guard come and get him when the sky was nice enough to view with a telescope. So they moved around a lot. They spent a lot of time with the king, of course, after he got put into the Royal Society with all of them. So let's move on to fun facts. He coined the correct term for asteroids. He was also knighted, which is why he is called Sir William, in 1816 by William, ironically, the King of England's son, after King George went crazy and his son took over. He also discovered Saturn's sixth known moon. I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce this. Enceladus, after finishing the largest telescope that he had built in 1789. Now we are moving on to his sister Caroline Herschel. She had a very tragic early life. She was born March 16th, 1770 in Hanover, Germany, of course, because that's where her parents were from. She contracted typhus at the age of 10, which caused her to stop growing. She is only 4 feet 3 inches about. She also contracted smallpox before she contracted typhus at age 3. Her parents decided her time would be better spent as a housemaid than getting an education. Because of her short height, she thought no one would ever marry her. So why bother educating her anyway? In 1772, her brother, like we already discussed, came and got her and brought her back to his house, where he was a composer and musician and doing astronomy on the side later. In exchange for coming to get her and her helping him out with the composition and singing and astronomy, he taught her math and other things she would need to know, as well as giving her singing lessons, of course. She also cleaned his house and did some maidly things and took after things. She spent most of her life with him, actually. So that's how they discovered most of their discoveries together. In 1783, she discovered 3 new nebulas. She discovered the first comet ever. The comet is known to astronomers today as Comet C-1786 P1 Herschel, and was found, she tells us in a paper, in August 1st, 1786, between the constellations of Ursa Major and Gamma Berenices. I got this from the Royal Society publishing page, which of course is in my works cited. In 1787, she was the first female scientist to get paid for her work. She actually received 50 euros for King George to being her brother's assistant. I'm sure 50 euros back then was a lot, so I'm sure she got quite a hefty sum of money there. In 1798, she corrected their mistakes in the original catalog as to help new astronomers. She also helped John by adding notes and revisions to their old catalog because she heard he wanted to make a new, more extensive one. John, of course, was William's one and only son. She actually daunted on John, as she never had any kids of her own, so she did a lot for him and thought very highly of him. He was a very smart astronomer, just like his aunt and father, of course. Caroline, in 1822, after William's death, she moves back to Hanover with this large sum of money he left her in her will, giving her the right to retire and live comfortably, to spend the rest of her life as she wished. Of course, at 75, when she was retired, she rearranged the catalog for John, her nephew, like I said, by position instead of astrological name, like it had been originally, so he could more easily pinpoint what they had discovered and document it in the new edition. She died January 9th, 1848, at the age of 97 in Hanover, Germany. Fun facts, she never married, of course, so she never had children, although John could have been her child as much as she daunted on him. She also never liked William's wife, Mary Pitt, which is ironic because she adored John so very much. On her 96th birthday, Caroline Herschel was awarded the King of Prussia Gold Medal of Science for her long-time achievements, and I found this on Caroline Herschel Star Child, which is in the Works Cited. She also hated being an astronomer for the first few months. When they moved in with the king, she was lonely and depressed and would rather go back to singing, but eventually when she started finding comets and nebulas on her own and making a name for herself, she really decided that she enjoyed it. Some test questions. Who discovered infrared light, and what experiment did they use to make the discovery? Of course, it would be William Herschel with the help of Caroline Herschel with his black bulb test of light and a prism. He discovered that red light was very, very hot and that it was way over the temperature of the thermometer that he was using, so he realized that there was light we could not see and it was overly hot. Who was the first person to discover a comet? We went over this one as well. It was Caroline Herschel, and I named her a comet in the discussion. What got William interested in astronomy? He got interested in astronomy because of compositions and harmony and music, which led him to studying math, which led him to studying astronomy, which led him to him and Caroline's greatest life achievements, which I think worked out very well for them both. Here's my Works Cited with all of the links and things from where I found all their information. Even if I didn't copy it directly, I cited the links in case anybody would like them. So there you have it. Thank you for listening to my presentation on William and Caroline Herschel. Please watch part 1 before watching part 2. Thank you and have a good day.